that was legal to have, but you couldn't display it in public. Well, if the cop frisked you and took your marijuana out, then he'd say, oh, your marijuana's in public. You go into jail. Things like this. That was a slow genocide. What we are up against, though, is the very real potential for that slow genocide to become a very fast. Why do I say that? Donald Trump, genocidal racist. This is a man, and some of y'all should remember this, because some of y'all look like he was around at that time. When the Central Park Five got arrested, he put full-page ads in the paper, bring back the death penalty, so we can lynch these dudes. That was the point, so we can execute them. And this was before the trial. This was before there was anything about who was guilty and who wasn't. If you paid close attention to the trial, you could also see this was a frame-up. These children, because they was like 14, 15, and 16, were coerced to dime on each other and then told, well, you got to throw yourself in there too. So you had these confessions which didn't exactly fit the crime. But on top of all that, the police had DNA evidence. They knew none of those children had touched this woman. The DAs knew it too, but they still prosecuted them for this rape, which they knew some other person had done, and only one person, according to the DNA evidence. But they served their time before that got brought out. What did Donald Trump say when he found out their innocence? They should still be in jail. He still thinks they're guilty. He don't care about no evidence. And then when somebody said, but the DNA says they didn't do it. And he said, well, what were they doing in the park at night anyway? They must have been committing some crime. But then it gets even clearer than that, because about 10 days ago, Donald Trump was up in Kenosha, Michigan, or what? Kenosha, Wisconsin. Or was that last week? About 10 days ago. And he went there to congratulate law enforcement on what a good job they're doing, which is another clue about this genocidal racist thing. Because I see the videos of police brutalizing and murdering people. And almost always, but not exclusively, black or brown people. I'm not going to congratulate people on doing a fine job if they're shooting somebody in the back 7 times as they're trying to get in the car that their little children are in. That's not a fine job. I'm not going to congratulate them on that. But that's what Donald Trump went there to do. In doing that, he stood next to the county sheriff. The county sheriff of Kenosha, Wisconsin, said 2 years ago, when he arrested some black people who were charged with shoplifting, he said, people like this should be locked up in warehouses. We should keep them there until they died off, so that they could not reproduce, so that we could get rid of this strain of people. And then after they died off, we could sell the warehouse to Amazon or make it a shopping mall. This is an important point, because what this sheriff was saying was there are certain criminal people in society, and the way we get rid of their criminal legacy is just lock them up and let them die off. In other words, let's kill a bunch of them. That is genocide. That's the man that Donald Trump stood next to and told him his police department is doing a fine job. This is what looms in the future. And I'm not talking about the distant future. I'm talking about next year, if they are successful by hook or by crook in maintaining their power, it could be hammering the final fascist nails into the coffin of democratic rights in this country. It could be hammering the final nails into an attempt to kill off large numbers of black people, one way or another. Hammering the final nails into getting Latinos back in their place, which many of them would be out of this country. And let's just throw this in the hopper. They put all those people in those camps on the border before the coronavirus. But they were still there when the coronavirus happened. The coronavirus got into those camps. A bunch of people got sick. And then they started deporting them, sending them back to their country of origin. Now, Trump got this shit about, he calls it the China virus. But for people in Central or South America, the coronavirus was made in USA and shipped to their country when they deported some of their people. That is also genocide. So let's really talk about this. It isn't just that there is potentially a continued slow process. There is potentially a sped up process. See, and this is something that happened in Nazi Germany. This is the last point I'm going to make. Hitler came to power in 1932 or 33. And a lot of people were like, oh shit, what's going to happen now? A lot of Jewish people tried to get out of the country. Some of them made it, but some of them didn't. Because countries around the world, including the United States, by the way, refused to accept them. There was a boatload of like 900 Jewish people trying to escape Hitler. The U.S. was one of the countries that would not let that boat dock. They sent them back. But anyway, so this was like 32, 33. But then, even though discrimination against Jews got worse, some people was like, oh, I thought Hitler would be worse than this. Some Jewish people even went back to Europe and back to Germany because it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be. Then about 1938, they were ready to make the move. There was something they called Kristallnacht. They called it Kristallnacht. Kristallnacht is night in German. Crystal was a reference to glass because that was the night that Hitler's goons were unleashed to go after the Jewish people. They broke the windows in their stores, in their homes. They chased them out. People lost their homes and ended up in ghettos. And then from those ghettos, they ended up in camps. And then those camps went from concentration camps to death camps. So by about 1941, 1942, they were putting Jews in the gas ovens. It didn't take that long. The point was, it got to a certain point where it didn't seem so bad to some people, and then all of a sudden it got bad. And that, to me, the lesson you learn from that is don't let it get to that point. And we are up against that point right now. So what do other people think? Am I hyping it up? Am I... No, I mean, don't nod with me to stay on my good side. Because that ain't the point. The point is, we got to recognize what we're up against, and from that, figure out what we got to do about it. And Avakian puts forward in his work, we got to drive this regime out, and he talks about how to do it.
Certainly not too soon. Yeah, I mean, there's a constitutional lawyer who teaches constitutional lawyers what they should have learned in the constitutional law classes in law school. His name is John Whitehead, and when Obama was in office, he was talking about fascism. His website is Rutherford. What is it? The RutherfordInstitute.org. His name is John Whitehead. His hero has been for a long time Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And in some of his videos, he wears an image. He wears a T-shirt with an image of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And again, he's been talking about fascism when Obama was in office. He saw it coming. So we're definitely not jumping the gun at all. And we need to act and act quickly and do everything we can to stop this from happening. Part of this stopping that.
Thank you. My name is Brooke Cerda, and I think you know, we need to focus on solutions. And for me, the solution is to support leftist governments, like you know, the new government in Argentina, Alberto Fernandez, who is more like center-left. It's not really much. The same thing in Dominican Republic with Luis Abinader. He's center and a little bit left, and we need to pressure them into doing more internationally, organizing, voting in the United Nations, you know, for the people. I am Mexican. We are blessed with having the best president in the world, López Obrador. And he's doing great things, but we feel very alone. You know, the media is just attacking us, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, every week. And, you know, nobody contests all these lies against our government, you know, which is a totally leftist government. You know, he's done tremendously so much stuff for people, you know, especially indigenous nations. So, but we have no platform still. Just a couple of weeks ago, the United States ordered YouTube to remove all Venezuela YouTube channels, Venezolana de Televisión, VTV. So I'm talking about there was since 2007. So we're talking about hundreds of thousands of videos, live streams, everything has been erased. It's been silenced. You know, I watch a lot of Venezuelan television, and I see Telesur more and more being lukewarm. Telesur is really not addressing a lot of stuff. The same with Russia TV, it's getting more and more shy into exposing. So we're getting cornered. So this mediatic silence terrified me. You know, terrified me because, you know, just 2 days ago on 9/11, it's been we commemorated 47 years since the coup d'etat in Chile that killed Salvador Allende. Is this thing on? Because okay. So it is like, you know, terrifying how, you know, I think it was 1979 when they killed him. You know, there was no press, no nothing. They just went and got him out of the way to put Pinochet, who was a genocidal maniac, who just, you know, ever since then, you know, Latin America, it's horrible. I mean, like, you know, they don't want migration, but these people have nothing to eat. And we know Latin America is a blessed land. We have everything, you know, to make money with. You know, even beautiful beaches for tourism, everything has been destroyed. All the infrastructure, everything that we can feed our people with has been, you know, watered down, so we're not really producing much. So that's just like my solution, you know. If you see something, question these newspapers, you know, especially the LA Times, which is a fascist media. I mean, most of them are, you know, they're just sold out. In 2016, they said it was going to be with us, the media. And now it's just like, you know, they say, Mr. President, President Trump, you know, it's like, you know, like nothing. We're just bending over and taking it. So I'm sorry that I get so angry, but, you know, you are right on point. This is a recipe for disaster. Thank you. Who get the mic back? Oh. Thank you. Not yet, I didn't know. You want the mic? No. Yeah, take the mic. It's open mic. It's open mic time. You know, they're just like we need to vent. We're gonna go crazy.
You got something to say? No, ask.
I was told a lot that I did not know, but I know.
No, the media is complacent. It's their media. It's not our media.
Yeah.
It's not for the people.
Yeah, I've been noticing RT also in Telesur. They don't have what they used to have. They still have some good programming, but yeah, they're not as outspoken as they used to be. So yeah, the media is fading in. What about the Real News? How's that doing? RealNews.com in Baltimore. How's that doing? As far as reporting, she was talking about Telesur and RT. They're not as outspoken as they used to be, and I can see and agree with what she's saying. And I was wondering, I know Real News used to be, and I guess it still is, a real good source, or are they still outspoken as they used to be, or not?
All right, I guess, look, I want to get into this question of genocide. I tried to sharpen it up. Maybe I talked too long. Is this really a looming, slow genocide turning into a fast one? Does the Trump-Pence regime actually pose that threat? Like I said, I noticed, okay, there we go. Because I noticed some people was taking notes, and I thought that might mean they had some thinking. One of them has just raised their hand.
I'm sorry, I just get really nervous when it comes to talking in front of other people, but when it comes to the genocidal statement, I think it's slowly in act, but it's more under wraps where we don't see it as much. Like you said about calling Trump a genocidal racist, I would like to add on how, now, he is that, but this system hasn't been in place since day one. After slavery, the prison system, and just all the things that have been set in place affecting minority groups. And also, I just feel like it's always been in place, but with Obama being president, he didn't exploit that. And now that we have someone who's coming from a privileged background, who's someone who has white privilege, who doesn't see things from a citizen's standpoint or a homeless person's standpoint, he's going to exploit that and take advantage of many people. Yeah, that's
forget the exact statistic, but an African-American woman is much more likely to die in childbirth than basically any other race. And then also people of color are more likely to have things that are perfectly preventable, like diabetes, hypertension. and treatable also.
Look, we came here today to get into a discussion around this. And I really appreciate people having their say, but don't just have it and then stop. Now, we can go one of two ways. I have a question I could add in, and we could get in, see if that gets anything going. Or, this is a 10-part series. We have 2 more parts for this series. We could play those 2 parts and then continue our discussion. So, play those 2 parts? Okay.
Yeah, we was in there.
We're going to play 4 and 5.